If you keep explaining yourself to gaslighters, you'll lose touch with your own reality. In this video, we'll share 5 proven gaslighting neutralizing phrases that maintain your boundaries without creating more conflict. Plus, watch until the end to discover the silent response technique that works even when gaslighters twist your words. Number 1. Have you ever noticed how people can make you question your own reality with just a few carefully chosen words? Remarkably, these subtle manipulations can leave even the most confident person doubting their own experiences and memories. What invisible mechanism makes gaslighting so effective at distorting our perception of reality? Think of gaslighting like a magician's sleight of hand. While you're focused on defending yourself, they're quietly moving the goalposts of the conversation. It's quite mind-blowing to know that our brains naturally seek consistency, which is why contradictory information can create such cognitive dissonance. This vulnerability is perfectly illustrated by Cecilia in The Invisible Man, who begins to question her own sanity when her abusive ex-partner manipulates her environment and everyone around her. While understanding gaslighting is crucial, simply recognizing it doesn't always provide the tools to respond effectively. So what practical technique can you use to maintain your grip on reality when someone tries to distort it? Try a grounding technique called reality anchoring. This approach helps you maintain your internal truth even when someone is actively trying to manipulate your perception. To implement this effectively, mentally document the facts as they occur. Write down exact quotes, events, or conversations immediately after they happen, noting date, time, and context. For instance, after a conversation where someone claims, "I never said that," you can refer to your notes with certainty. Remember, your documented reality outweighs their revised version. Number 2. Have you ever realized that the more vigorously you defend yourself against gaslighting, the deeper you seem to sink into their manipulation? Curiously, our natural instinct to explain ourselves or provide evidence actually gives the gaslighter more material to twist and manipulate. Imagine gaslighting as a tennis match where the manipulator serves accusations, hoping you'll return with a desperate volley of explanations. Interestingly, Dr. Robin Stern, a psychologist at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, found that gaslighters rely on their target's desire to be understood, using this need as an entry point for manipulation. While it's important to communicate clearly, endless explanations often backfire by giving gaslighters more statements to misrepresent. So how might you respond without escalating the conflict? Consider a boundary-setting approach called boundary echo. This technique maintains your position without inviting further manipulation by calmly repeating your boundary without elaboration or justification. To execute this effectively, create a simple, clear statement expressing your boundary. Then repeat this exact phrase without adding explanations, regardless of how they respond. For example, simply stating, "I'm not comfortable with that characterization of events," and maintaining it despite pressure to explain. Remember, consistent boundaries need no justification. Number 3. Next, how to actively redirect manipulation attempts. Have you ever found yourself trapped in circular conversations with someone who consistently, once again, twists your words into something you never intended? Intriguingly, these conversational loops are carefully designed to exhaust you into compliance while making you feel responsible for the miscommunication. What would happen if you completely changed your responses? Consider gaslighting as a well-rehearsed script where the manipulator expects certain responses, allowing them to deliver their next prepared line. What's fascinating is that our brains naturally create neural pathways through repetition, making established conversation patterns incredibly difficult to break. This psychological trap is brilliantly portrayed by Mia in La La Land, whose boyfriend consistently dismisses her aspirations and subtly undermines her confidence, framing his criticism as looking out for her. While breaking conversation patterns is powerful, this approach requires careful implementation to avoid appearing aggressive. So what specific technique can redirect these conversations without falling into the gaslighter's trap? Try a redirection method called pattern interruption. This technique breaks the manipulative cycle by introducing an unexpected response that prevents the gaslighter from following their usual script. To apply this effectively, respond to manipulative statements with a thought-provoking question. Choose questions that expose the manipulation without accusation or defensiveness. For instance, when someone says, "You're overreacting as usual," respond with, "What makes you believe that's an overreaction?" instead of defending yourself. Remember, unexpected questions reveal manipulation better than explanations. Number 4. Now that we've explored how to redirect conversations, let's examine how to protect your emotional well-being during gaslighting attempts. Have you ever observed how certain interactions leave you feeling emotionally drained, as though your very sense of self has been eroded? Fascinatingly, gaslighting creates a unique form of emotional exhaustion because it targets our fundamental need for shared reality and validation of our experiences. Why does this form of manipulation affect us so deeply on an emotional level? Think of emotional responses to gaslighting like quicksand. The more emotionally reactive you become, the deeper you sink into their manipulation. Notably, Dr. Harriet Lerner, a renowned psychologist specializing in relationship patterns, has documented how emotional dysregulation during conflict gives manipulators precisely the reaction they're seeking, which reinforces their behavior. While emotional detachment provides protection, complete disconnection can lead to suppressed feelings and potential long-term psychological effects. So what emotional management technique can help you remain centered while facing manipulation? Explore an emotional protection strategy called emotional firewall. This approach creates psychological distance between you and the manipulator's attempts to provoke emotional reactions. To build this protection, practice conscious emotional observation. When you feel triggered, mentally step back and observe your emotions without immediately acting on them, noting, "I'm feeling defensive," rather than becoming defensive. For example, when someone claims you always make everything about yourself, internally acknowledge your reaction before responding calmly. Remember, observed emotions lose their control over your responses. Number 5. Having covered various active responses to gaslighting, as promised, here's the silent technique that works even when gaslighters twist your words. Have you ever considered that sometimes the most powerful response to manipulation is no response at all? Astonishingly, our deeply ingrained social programming makes silence feel uncomfortable, creating an almost irresistible urge to fill conversational voids even when doing so works against our best interests. Imagine silence as a mirror that reflects manipulation back to its source instead of absorbing it yourself. A fascinating neurological fact is that the absence of expected feedback creates cognitive dissonance, often leading manipulators to reveal more of their true intentions as they attempt to regain control. This powerful restraint is exemplified by Beth Harmon in The Queen's Gambit, who learns to maintain composed silence when faced with dismissive comments about her abilities, forcing others to confront their own biases rather than defending herself. While strategic disengagement is effective, completely withdrawing from important relationships isn't always possible or desirable. So what specific approach allows you to disengage from manipulation without completely disconnecting? Try strategic silence. This method creates space between manipulation attempts and your responses, preventing reflexive reactions that feed into gaslighting dynamics. To master this approach, implement the pause, assess, decide sequence when faced with manipulation. Pause for several seconds. Mentally assess the manipulation tactic being used, then consciously decide whether to respond or disengage completely. For instance, when someone makes a provocative statement designed to trigger you, take a deep breath and simply maintain eye contact without rushing to respond. Remember, your silence creates space where manipulation cannot survive. If you're interested in learning more about self-discovery, then be sure to watch our video about 5 alarming ways narcissists take over your relationships to learn more about the power of you. See you there.